I'm Allison. I'm a literacy specialist and I have a teacher blog called Learning at the Primary Pond. In this video, as long as the tech keeps working because I've had some issues, I am going to share some different ideas for literacy centers that work during social distancing. And right now, with what's going on in the world, a lot of us can't have our students next to each other. But what I also want to point out is that the ideas I'm going to share are great for literacy centers that are solo any time of year, any school year, because sometimes there's just, times when we want our students to work by themselves, and that might be because maybe we're doing one-on-one assessments and we need the noise level to be lower in the classroom, or maybe they need to build their independent work skills. Maybe partner games just haven't been working. They're getting a little squirrely. It's just that time in the year. There are certain times, as much as I love partner games personally and social interaction, there are times when I just need my students to work by themselves, but that doesn't have to be necessarily like boring worksheets. So in this video, I'm going to share 8 different categories of activities that I love doing with my kids, and they can all be done with the kids by themselves, no interaction needed. So again, if you're social distancing right now, that is perfect for this. And I'm also going to be giving away a set of resources. So if you are here live, toward the end of this video, and it's not going to be super long, I'm going to go through the comments and I will randomly pull a winner, and that winner is going to receive a copy of my brand new solo literacy centers. And so the stuff that I'm going to show, yes, it's from the solo literacy centers. You can absolutely adapt the ideas. You may even have some things that you already have in your classroom that you can do. However, everything I'm going to show you here is from either the kindergarten, first grade, or second grade solo literacy centers. So if you would like to win one of those, make sure you get at least one comment in. So when I scroll and pull somebody, I can pull your name. So you can let me know maybe what grade you teach, or if you're social distancing right now. Any kind of comment is fine. And then at the end of the video, I will pull a name. All right, so let's see. Let me look at my little outline here. So again, these are great for social distancing, one-on-one assessment time, when kids need to build those independent work muscles. Maybe partner work just isn't going well. And independent work, reading is good, writing is good. Sometimes you just want to jazz it up and do something fun and special that's not necessarily a worksheet. And so all of these activities that I'm going to show you will make the kids feel like they are playing, they're game-like, even though they're not necessarily playing with another friend that's sitting there. All right, awesome. We've got some friends who are entering the contest already. Super. Jenny says, excited about this. Solo centers are all I can use this year. This is perfect. Joanna, first grade, social distancing. Jill, hey Jill, so glad you could make it. Also socially distanced. Super. Thanks for sharing that, ladies. All right. Okay, so the first category of activities, and I'm going to show you 8 categories and then like different types of games and resources within each category. The first category I want to talk about is race to cover. And so the reason why I love this type of game is because the kids are playing a board game. If you hear something, it's my cat. I'm sorry. She's crying for attention. Anyway, so the reason why I love this is because the kids feel like they're playing a board game, but they're actually playing against themselves. So in this particular game, I forget if this is in the first or second grade pack. These are on sale, by the way, Tuesday, Wednesday, so February 9th and 10th TPT sale. The code is FebSale21. So aside from that, in this game, the kids put their little player on start, and then they're going to roll a die. So we got a 3. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. They read the word. Hopefully, I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to move that because my little video is in the way. They read the word and they find the beginning blend. So this would be great for when you've already taught beginning blends and they're familiar with them. They just need some more practice. So this kiddo's on brag. They now match the beginning blend to one of these things on the side. And the whole point of the game, and they can then use like a counter, or they can use a little cube and they can cover it. And the whole point of the game is they keep, sorry, I'm gonna move this again. They keep rolling, right, and moving, and they're racing against the time that they have before they finish. So here we got the TR blend, we're gonna cover it, then they roll again, and they continue to cover these ones on the side, and they see if they can cover them all before they get to stop. And so again, they're not playing with anybody, it's just a solo game. But the nice thing about these race to cover things is, again, they don't need a partner. They're practicing, in this example, those phonics skills, and it's actually kind of challenging to get to all of the blends before you finish. So that means that the kids are going to have to clear their card and play again. You can also extend any activity like this by having them make lists of words with these blends. So let's say, they play a few times, they get to perfect. Jenny says we're practicing blends and foundations right now. Perfect timing. Let's say that they finish, they do get to stop and they do cover all the blends, which again is kind of challenging. They can go ahead and maybe on the back of the paper, on a different sheet of paper, they can write the blend and they can make lists. They can look through, the little, the little game board here, and they can make lists of words that have the different blends. So that's a great extension activity. Pretty much any of these, you can come up with some extension activity to further what they're learning. So this is a race to cover, but then this is also a race to cover. It's just kind of like a different race. So in this one, the kids are reading CVC words, and this would be great for your kiddos who, it might be first graders, it might be kindergartners. They know, or they're learning how to blend to read CVC words. And so in this case, they are, again, where did I put my little thing? They're again starting on start. They are rolling. They got a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, bag. So then they look and they see, is there a bag? Yes, there is. So this time their goal is to cover all of the pictures here. So they're matching, showing that they know what it actually says, because sometimes with games like it is having them read, which is great, but this is actually like demonstrating that they know, that this says bag and this is a bag. So they keep rolling, blah, blah, blah. They run around the little board here, and then the goal again is to the goal is to cover all of these circles before they get to finish, and that's how they win the game. But again, no partner is needed. If you're just joining me, by the way, make sure that you get a comment in, because I am going to scroll when we're done here and choose a winner to get one of these packs. So you can choose kinder, first, or second grade. I'm kind of showing you a mix just to give you an idea of like what kinds of things would fit into these categories. And again, with like the race to cover, you may actually have some board games already that would require 2 kids, but maybe you add like a little section where the kids are covering. It doesn't have to be pictures. They could be covering certain blends. You can probably take this idea and adapt it to a game that you already have. Alrighty. So we are still in the race to cover category. Here is just another way to do it. This is, and actually the solo literacy centers I want to mention too, the ones that I linked to, there's an editable version of all the templates. So like this does have high frequency words on it, very simple ones, but you can take this template if you have the resource and you can totally customize it for the words that you want. And again, they're rolling, they're moving, and they're trying to cover all of their words before they get to finish. And again, they can play again if they don't get them all, because it is challenging to get them all. All right. And I think this is my last example of race to cover. Again, solo board game, but in this variety, what I did is I put like these little treasure coins. And so instead of trying to get like a certain kind of word or picture, they're actually just going around the board, and then some of the squares have this little treasure on here. And so they try to land on, 3 little treasure coins here before they get to finish. Got a little pirate theme. So again, race to cover, but just a slightly different variety. Okay, let's move on to the next category. And this is again something you can adapt even if you don't have the solo literacy centers. But this is sort of similar to, it's like a spin on a sort, right? I love doing word sorts. I love doing picture sorts. I do them regularly, but sometimes the kids just need a little something different. And so this category that I'm going to show you is find and color code. Something that a lot of my kids have struggled with, and let me know in the comments if this happens to you as well. Once they learn the long vowel sounds, they might learn, silent E, CVC E words. That's great, and they know the long vowels, but then they try to turn words that have short vowels into long vowel words. So if they see, for example, I don't know, the word like nod, they might say node, whereas they would have before been able to read that, right? But now that they've learned the silent E rule, they're kind of over applying that rule to all words. So in this activity, what they're doing is they're distinguishing between short O and long O. And a lot of times what I'll do, I should have brought some pens, especially for like the little ones, I might actually take, like, this is obviously not red. I don't think I have a red pen here. Let me use this blue one here. I would actually probably ahead of time or have the kids like color code this by circling blue or whatever, and then I would have them take red and circle red, so you can give them a little bit of support there. But they are going to find all of the words that have short O. First they need to read it, then they go back and they color code. Does it have short O? Then they'll use red. Does it have long O? Then they use blue. Now again, I did not pull the correct colors here, but there's a couple of ways to do this. You could have them use colored pencils, and you could have them do anything, right? You could have them circle the whole word in blue if it's long O, like this, or you could have them circle, the long O and the silent E, or if you want to make this reusable, which is nice, you could have them do it both ways, but you could have them color code by using little cubes. So for example, short O, like I said, I don't have a red, but long O, we could do this, we could do this. So obviously this is quicker. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer if they're actually circling. But again, you could extend this activity and turn it into, okay, well, after you're done, now I want you to turn it over and make a list of all the short O words you found and all the long O words you found. And if you know any other shorter or long O words, they can add them. So you can take this as kind of a base and extend it. So this is find and color code, and you can do this for a number of skills. I actually want to show you this because it's the same concept, but it's a little bit easier. See lots of people having kids with the same short and long vowel confusion. See lots of yeses. If you're just joining us, make sure to get your comment in, because at the end, as long as you're watching live, I'm going to pull a winner to get either the kindergarten, first grade, or second grade solo literacy centers. All right, so let's look at another find and color code, but this is a different skill entirely. So in the kindergarten set, what I put in there were pairs of similar letters. So B and D is a big one, right? But I also have, in this example, I have C and G. So the first thing you want to have your kinders do, or whatever grade level you're using it with, is actually just color this in so that they know that this says blue and that they know that that says red in two different colors. So after you have them do that, then what they are doing is, again, they're either taking a pen or they are taking the cubes and they are putting them on top. And you might actually want to give them more than one of these sheets. You might have like a C and G, a B and D. In a normal year, it's a little bit easier to recycle, right? Because you can just have the kids kind of like come to the center after them and reuse them. Obviously, it's a little more complicated this year, but you can have them color code that way. You can have them circle, whatever you want to do. That's just a variation on find and color code. Can also do this for something like short vowels. So we've got blue for short A and red for short E. Again, same idea. Whoops, you can do them for digraphs, right? We've got all these digraphs here, and of course this would be after you've already taught them the phonics patterns, right? This is kind of an activity to reinforce what they've already been learning. And the solo literacy centers do have like a ton of different skills in them. And so what I would encourage you to do is, yes, to use them for the things that you're working on now, but also to go back and see like what skills have I covered this year. Let me know in the comments if a lot of your kids tend to forget the phonics, rules or patterns you've already covered. So the packs have a lot of different skills so that you can go back and have the kids practice things that you may have already taught. That review is so important and really like cementing it for them. All right, so that was the find and color code activity. I see a yes for that on kids forgetting phonics patterns. So now we're going to talk about some dice games. And dice games are fun. So I bought these, I think Amazon. I bought like a class set, like I work one-on-one with kids now, but I bought a class set of colored dice so that, like this year, all the kids could each have their own die. And so there's so many different games they can play with dice. So for this one, they just need one die and they roll and cover. So this is a 2, this is the lowercase k, and then they get to cover the capital K. Pretty simple, right? They roll again, they get a 5, now they cover the capital U. And so you would give them like a couple of these sheets to practice with. And you can do something like this for different skills. You could do it for ending blends, kind of same idea, right? Instead of capital and lowercase, you do it for ending blends. What I do recommend, whether they're just doing letters or, you know, something more complicated, is to actually have them teach them to read the letters or read the words before they do it. Have them color code, and then or not color code, but cover, and then as they take the things off, to read it again. So they're actually reading the words twice. Same thing with the extension idea here. After they, you know, roll, okay, we got 5 ND, words that end with the ND blend, trend, right? After they do this, they could also take a sheet of paper and make columns, and they could write words that they found here that end with these blends. So you can take it another level to make it last longer too. So we've got just capital, lowercase. This is slightly different, but it's still a dice game, so I included it here. All right, so this is roll and write. And this you can adapt for so many things. You could also do this with CVC words. You could do it with CVCE words. But here what they do is they actually need 2 dice this time. And they roll the first die. So we got a 6. That's ST. Okay, that means that the word is going to start with ST. And then we got a 6, so that means roll again. Got a 4, unk. So they have to put those together, ST and unk, and that is a real word, so they write it here. They write stunk. And it's okay if they get a nonsense word, they can just write it here. So this can kind of go on endlessly, right? Because there's a bunch of different combinations that they can get. They're writing real words, nonsense words, and again, you can make that with CVC words. You can really do it with any kind of word pattern that you're working on. See lots of comments. Awesome. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. You're so sweet. Okay, another kind of dice game, and again, in the solo literacy centers here, you actually get the editable version of this so that you can take this and make your own high frequency word stuff with it, because obviously I don't know what words you're working on right now or what words the kids are working on. So like with this one, what they would do is they would roll the die. I think this is for kindergarten. They get a 2, they trace it. Sometimes I like to give them a fun color to do. They roll, they trace, they just keep on going, right? And I should also have said that for a lot of these, you can do them more than once. And so it might be helpful to put them in a page protector or some kind of sheet so that the kids, you know, this will take them a little while, but it's even better if they're using like a dry erase marker and they can wipe it off. And maybe you just have a couple of sheets in their bag if it's socially distanced and they're not sharing materials. And they can, you know, choose what they want to do. They can redo it, because a lot of the stuff that I'm showing you can be played more than once. They may just not want to do it more than once in one sitting, but, you know, a couple days later, they bring it out, they play it again. All right, so those were the dice games that I wanted to show you. There's actually a lot more in the pack itself. I just wanted to show you these categories and give you some ideas. But now let's talk about spin and cover. So spin and cover is great because, again, the kids don't have to be near each other. They can play by themselves. When I have a clear spinner overlay, let me know in the comments if you use these at all, especially for kindergarten. I do like when you can just put the clear overlay and spin it. Otherwise, what you can do, and this works too, my kids learn how to do this, you just have a little paper clip and they kind of flick it, and then hopefully it lands on something clearly. And so like for this case, they are looking for a picture that begins with S, right? So where did we get one? We have slide, so we cover it. So basically they just keep spinning, they say the letter sound, we got another S, right? And they cover it. So great for phonological awareness. Another thing, if you want to, I guess it's technically phonics too, but another thing, if you want to extend it, is have them choose, you know, when they're finished with this, have them choose 5 of the words, and on a different sheet of paper, have them stretch it out, listen for the sounds, and write it. And it's okay if it's not something that they can spell phonetically yet. The point is to just get them, you know, trying to use their letter sound knowledge, and then they can circle the first letter and show that it matched, you know, whatever they spun. So this is spin and cover. Here is another example of spin and cover, pretty basic. You can do it for capital and lowercase letters. Again, here they're just spinning, right? They got whatever letter, and then they have to find the lowercase. So you can give them a few of these to do. Robin says use paper clips with 2nd grade, works well. Yep. This is ending sounds, spin and match, so same kind of idea. Instead of beginning sounds, but this time instead of letters, they're actually matching. So they look for a picture that ends like bat. So we've got net. So if they spun bat, then they would cover net. Again, these actually, yeah, these are CVC words, so they could spell some of them as well as an extension activity. Another spin and match, spin and cover kind of thing. This time they're matching beginning sounds. You can do this for more complicated stuff too. So this is a spin and cover, but this is for nouns. So this is great for when you're talking about what nouns are and you want kids to consider is something a person, a place, or a thing noun. So they would spin, and then if they get a person noun, they have to cover a person. If they get a place noun, they have to cover a place. So just thinking about different types of nouns. And then I also have one where they can do parts of speech. So this would be where they're already familiar with noun, verb, adjective, and they have the picture, and they have, they have the word, and they have the little picture support, so they spin and cover. Again, afterward, take it as an extension activity, have them make a piece of paper, 3 columns, they put nouns, adjectives, verbs, they include some of the words here, and then maybe they come up with some of their own examples as well. All right, so that was the spin and cover activity. This one is a good one to put in like a page protector and reuse if you can. This is find and sort. So again, it's sort of similar to a sort, like how we're doing the color code. So the kids are thinking about patterns in words, which is of course what we want. And then in this activity, they actually are going to need 2 sheets. So some of the words have short A, some of them have short E, some of them have short U. Love that, Katie. Katie says this would be great for nouns that go with science and social studies too. Yes, you could even like integrate content area stuff. I love that. And the no preps solo literacy centers, those are editable, so you absolutely can do that. All right, so for this one, what they do, they can just do it with their eyes. These aren't really that small, but if they get a kick out of using a magnifying glass, they can do that too. Again, they don't really need it, but they can search for words, and what they do is they try to find the words, and then like if they find mug, their job is to write it under short U. And so they're numbered so that it will tell them when they're done. Excuse me, right? So like there's 6 short A words, 6 short E, 6 short U words. So they're finding all of these and they're writing them kind of like a little sort, but they love the little, the little scenes, and it's I don't know what you call, like a word search or a word hunt, and they get a kick out of that. And so this one I did for short vowels. This one is actually for contractions though. So of course you could do it for any skill, right? It could be long vowels or short vowels, different digraphs, even just like first letter in the word, something very simple. But this is more advanced, this is more challenging because the kids are actually reading and finding contractions, and then they have to decide, is this a contraction with not, is, will, or are? And again, it's kind of structured so that they know, there's going to be 3 contractions with are. Excuse me, and at the little bottom here, they're supposed to write a sentence with the words. So obviously this is more advanced. I don't think I showed you, did I show you? I guess they didn't write sentences here, but that's of course an extension activity. Choose 3 of the words, write sentences. Thank you, Jessica, I appreciate that. All right, so next category, I think we got 3 more to go, and then I'm gonna pull my winner, is roll a story. And I have done this one in so many different ways. I really do love to depend on my kids' creativity to write and tell stories about their own lives, but sometimes they just need an idea or they want to do something a little bit different. And so with this version of roll a story, they roll a die, and then this is a 5, and so then they look really closely at the picture, like what's going on in the picture, and then they write a story about what's going on. So I have to model this first so that their story is not like the girl rode a bike, right? I have to model how I make things up. So I model, once upon a time there was a girl named so-and-so. She really wanted to learn how to ride her bike. So I do have to model this before they can actually do it, but it is a lot of fun once they learn to use their imagination and kind of stretch out what's happening in the picture. This is like a very basic version, and so I think this is what I included in the kindergarten roll a story, or the kindergarten solo literacy centers. And then this is a little more complex for our friends who like to have more choice. So with this one, they roll twice, and the first roll will tell them like who the story is about, and they can circle, they can choose a lion or an alien, they choose one of those, and then they roll again, and they can choose like the lion is going to a party or the lion is going snorkeling. So they love the silly combinations, and the stories that they write are just pretty funny. So 2 different versions. This is in kinder first and second grade of the solo literacy centers. Just a fun narrative variety. All right, so yes, Lori, definitely lots of differentiation. So now let's talk about reading response. And with reading response, what I like to do is during reading time, like the kids are doing independent reading, right? But a great activity that you can have them do, either it could be a book that you've read to everybody, it could be a book that they've read on their own or looked at, it could be a book that they've listened to, like on Epic. A great activity that they can do is just do something with the text. And so what I do is I teach them these, and I've done different ones every year. It's not necessarily always the same ones, but I teach them these different types of reading response activities. So for example, create a text feature. This is a little more complex. This would be something I would do in like second grade and up. But basically, they take a book that they feel is like missing a text feature. So maybe they feel there needs to be like a picture with a caption, diagram or labels, map, table of contents, a glossary. And they actually get to add whatever text feature they think that text that they read or listened to needs. So they create this. And this would be, of course, after you've studied text features, after they know the purpose, all that good stuff. But this is flexible because they can do it with pretty much any nonfiction text. Another one, a little more advanced, we'll look at some easier ones too, but questions that they have about a text. And this works best with nonfiction. So like, for example, before they read, maybe they're going to read a book about frogs. So before they read, they write some questions. Or after they read, if they still have questions about the topic, they can write questions here. So that's a little bit older kids once they can write questions. This is sort of similar. It's new learning where they just write different facts about what they learned. Again, it's very flexible, so pretty much any nonfiction text. Okay, this is a good one for kinder or first. It says, after you read or listen to a story, circle one feeling that a character felt. So they have the picture support, they circle it, and then they write or draw to explain why the character had that feeling. So in most fiction books, the character has some kind of feeling, so that's why this is nice, very flexible. You can do it with different texts. And again, that could be something they listen to on Epic, or something you read, or something they read on their own. All right. Got 2 more reading response, and then we're going to go to the last one and pull my winner. Okay, so this is a retelling timeline. And you, of course, would have to model how to do this, but the kids would draw what happens first, second, and last in the story, so beginning, middle, end. They could write as well. This is just the drawing one for like kinder, just a little timeline thing. And then this is another one I think I put in the kinder version. So this is just my opinion of the book. What did you think of the book? Then they're just supposed to do a little drawing or write a little sentence to explain why they thought that. So pretty simple, but again, a reading response kind of activity. All right, last but not least, and these are actually some of my favorites, are photo writing. So there is so much that you can do with this. You could integrate content areas like somebody suggested earlier with a different activity. In this one, like parts of a flower, they're using this to label and then they write about it. And so the photo will kind of tell them enough, right? It doesn't have to be that you are necessarily, studying flowers to do it. As long as you read the vocabulary words to them, they can write I see whatever. It can be as simple as that. Or the flower has a lot of seeds in the middle or something. The color's a little off on my printer there, but they're black and white. So that's like one version of photo writing. Here is another one that's photo writing, sort of, but it's a would you rather. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done a would you rather with your kids. My kids love them. And this one, would you rather fly or ride? So would you rather fly in an airplane or would you rather ride on a train? They just have to pick an option and write about it. So this was like the second grade version. This is just plain old picture writing. So they see a picture. I know it's probably hard to see here, but they, think about what's going on. Ideally, you want them to talk about the picture, which is so good for oral language before they write about it, right? So maybe that's you talk as a group. Maybe it's small group. Maybe that's, not possible this year, but talk about what's going on in the picture. They can write about it. They could make up a story. The picture is just a good prompt and so good for oral language if you can have that conversation. See lots of love for would you rather. Yes. This is like a more advanced, if you remember the the flower one that I showed you. This is just more advanced. There's some photos in here that will kind of like show them things about the ladybug. So like the ladybug is on, I don't know, a little twig here thing. The ladybug is like opened up its wings. So they don't necessarily have to know anything about ladybugs. They just have to describe what they're seeing here and write about it. So it doesn't necessarily have to match your content. However, if you are doing something in science and social studies, a lot of the pictures that I purchase for this stuff that I make are from Shutterstock. However, pixabay.com does have some free photos that you can download and create stuff like this. The solo literacy centers do have templates, so if you want to make your own, you absolutely can. All right, so those were the 8 categories. We did race to cover, the color coding, dice activities, spin and cover, find and sort, roll a story, reading response, and photo writing. So hopefully those gave you some ideas, and of course, just reading and writing are great activities for the kids to do. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll through all these comments and I'm gonna pull my winner. And my winner is going to get either kinder, first, or second grade solo literacy centers. Again, these are great for social distancing, but also sometimes you just need the kids to work on their own. So they're great for that purpose. I know with assessments, before I became, a reading specialist and my role now, when I was in the classroom, I felt like I was constantly being like, shh, when the kids were working independently and I was trying to do one-on-one assessments because, it's just hard to keep a bunch of kids quiet for that amount of time. So these are great for assessments as well, or just anytime you want to build those independent work muscles. Okay, so I'm gonna pull my winner now. Just if you don't win, these are on sale the 9th and the 10th of February. So I think the code is FebSale21 on TPT. So Tuesday, Wednesday, they're on sale as well. All right, let me pull my winner. All right, Sandy Short Holly. Hopefully I'm saying your last name correctly. You are my winner, so make sure to email Allison, ALISON, at learningattheprimarypond.com and let me know which grade level you would like. Excited to send those to you. Thanks everybody so much for participating. Whether you have or get the solo literacy centers or not, I hope that this was helpful in giving you some ideas for this challenging year. Hope you're having a great week so far. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll come back and answer them later. And I think that's it. So thanks so much for watching.